Hello and welcome to Talkernate History, the podcast where we,
Matt
and Max, talk about works of alternate history scenarios, and history in general. I think this episode is a long time coming. Man in the High Castle, Seasons 2 and 3. We talked about Man in the High Castle Season 1. We didn't talk about Man in the High Castle Season 2, not because we didn't like it or anything, but just because, we were just doing other stuff and it just never really was a right time to do it. But yeah. Man in the High Castle Season 3 came out not that long ago, like a month or two ago, and we both watched it.
Yes, it was very good.
And we both liked it. Mm-hmm. We both thought it was quite good, so we thought, hey, well, why not make an episode about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we'll get started. We'll just sort of recap, I guess, from Season 2 very briefly. Spoiler alert for this.
Yeah.
So get ready, guys. The world building continues. Joe realizes that he's what's called Lebensborn, which is this program that is actually real in real life that the Nazis ran. It was like sort of a program to design like the perfect children and all that.
Yeah.
And his dad is some guy who I don't think existed in history.
Mm-hmm.
Huisman.
Yeah.
And there's this whole big plot. Hitler gets killed. Joe and his dad are behind it.
There's like a failed coup, try to overthrow the government, and they get caught and stopped, and Himmler's the big guy in charge now, and he and John Smith gets this big parade and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. In the I think it's the Volkshall, which was that imagined thing that Albert Speer had, where it's like that massive dome thing.
Yeah, like a dome so big it could have clouds appear inside of it.
Yeah.
Like it's that huge.
Yeah.
Huisman also had plans to do the Allentropia project.
Oh, yeah.
Where they dam the Mediterranean and all that stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a nice little throwback to the book. But of course, that doesn't happen because he gets knocked out.
Yeah. And then we see the man in the high castle.
Yeah.
Stephen Root.
I love Stephen Root. He's awesome. He's great. For those who don't know, he was Milton in Office Space.
And he was Bill in King of the Hill.
Yeah, Bill Dauterive. I love that show. It's fantastic.
So basically you find out that he actually started making these clips. They were mockumentaries. They were based, not documentaries. So he was putting them together himself just to like inspire people. And then actually real alternate newsreels started to arrive to him.
Yeah. They became popular and people showed up with these weird, bizarre films that didn't make any sense. And it kind of goes from there. Also in the second season, a big part of it is that Mr. Tagomi finds out that he can just kind of blip into other dimensions by meditating, basically. He's like sitting on a park bench and he's holding a necklace and he's thinking about it, and then suddenly he's in 1960s San Francisco, which is something that happens in the book. I know it doesn't make any sense, but hey, that's in the book, so, you can't really...
But he goes and he spends a lot of time in this alternate world where the U.S. had won World War II, and he lives in the United States, and his son is married to Juliana, and they have a kid, and he talks and he learns from them, and then he eventually takes a film which shows the Bikini Atoll H-bomb test, and he uses that to convince the Germans that the Japanese have an atom bomb.
No other corroboration necessary. That's just fine. Just a little news strip, and okay.
Okay, we got it.
These bombs, they leave behind craters and telltale signs and stuff. You can just go and check, but...
Nah. I don't do that. That's too inconvenient.
Yeah. So by doing this, it pushes back the ultimate war between Germany and Japan for at least the time being.
Yeah, and then Frank gets involved in the resistance, and they launch a bomb attack on the Japanese headquarters in San Francisco.
And he pretty much basically kills himself. It blows up right next to him.
Yeah.
So,
well, he tries to. The Keto shows up, and he like shoots a guy next to Keto, or he shoots Keto. I can't remember. And then the bomb explodes.
And Zima died. Remember Zima, the general from the last season?
Yes.
He was in a Steven Seagal film I saw not that long ago.
Was he?
Yeah. I think he was also in Command and Conquer Red Alert 3 along with
okay. I'll take your word for it.
Ric Flair.
What?
Yeah, the wrestler.
Oh no.
And Tim Curry, he's in it too.
Tim Curry.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like the leader of Soviet Russia. Playing an Eastern European, just like in Congo.
And in Mikhail's Navy.
Really? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
German guy. And he has like the boat with all the weird guns and missiles on it. It's very dumb.
I would like to forget that film as quickly
Me
as
too.
possible.
I'd like to forget it too.
I bet Kelsey Grammer would like to forget it as well. Oh, no.
No. Oh, Max.
You got me there.
He was in Down Periscope.
Totally different film. Completely different.
How could you do that? No, Tom Arnold.
Right.
And Ernest Borgnine. and some other people that I don't remember. That shows you clearly how memorable it was.
But that was season 2 of Man in the High Castle right there. Good, pretty good. Oh yeah, also another really important thing is that John Smith's son gets diagnosed with some kind of genetic
Palsy,
default.
I think, or something like that. And he wants to honor his country, so he turns himself in to be killed at the end.
And at the very beginning of the 3rd season, it starts off with like a memorial service for him. It's this yearly holiday now where they celebrate this kid who decided to kill himself.
Good job, Thomas.
Yeah, thanks. So,
Real inspiration to all of us.
That this is, as you can imagine, this is like a really weird moral quandary for John. Because on one hand, he's patriotic, he loves his country and stuff, but the ideals of his country directly screw up his life and destroy his family.
Well, that's the big part of season 3 is it shows like his wife draws farther away from him. She has to go to therapy, and she starts spreading state secrets and tries to hook up with her Jungian psychologist. No, as he said, no Jewish science, only Jungian, good area.
Yes, increase the anima.
So, yeah, that's right. So Niles Crane would be very, very happy.
And Frasier would be just livid, absolutely livid. But yeah, so that's basically the big conflict with John the whole season, and it never really comes to a head, but you can tell next season it's going to be a big decision point of what's more important, my country or my family.
Yeah, and it shows his past a little bit. He was in the U.S. Army, it says, in World War II. And also one of the flashbacks, it shows him in, like a tank rolls by him, and it's a T-55, everybody.
How did that happen? But it's got German markings on it. It's got like that like cross thing on the side of it.
Yeah, the Balkenruz.
Balkenruz.
The German like cross. Yeah. But that didn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
But we care about tanks here on Talkernate History.
Yes.
Not the correct type of tank. The Super Tiger.
Yeah, it should have been some goofy, ridiculous, like...
Mouse.
Yeah, mouse tank or something. But, okay. It's not like they're going to make a tank from scratch just for this TV show, you know. But where'd they get a T-55 in America is what I'm wondering.
People privately own them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
They can buy one, I'm sure.
Buy a tank. Interesting.
As long as the gun's disabled, you can buy them. You can buy them on the open market.
You can buy a flamethrower just as long as there's a hole in the tank, like a World War II era flamethrower or whatever, an M2, just so you can't use it.
No.
Yeah.
There actually are flamethrowers you can use that you can buy.
Yeah, but I bet there's all kinds of weird legal nonsense you got to go through for that.
Well, yeah, I'd hope so.
Yeah. You would expect.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so in the 3rd season, you have John Smith, and he rises further up in the sort of Nazi hierarchy, and he runs into some real life characters.
That's right, yeah. Since he's a mover and shaker in the American government now, he's a Reichs...
Obergruppen. He goes from Obergruppenführer to... No, is it Oberst?
No, it's Obergruppenführer to Oberstgruppenführer.
Obergruppenführer.
Yeah.
And then he becomes the head of the GAR at the end because he takes it from a real-life person, George Lincoln Rockwell.
That's right, yeah. The head of the American Nazi Party.
And he was assassinated in the 60s. In this one, he also gets assassinated, but in kind of a strange scene.
Yeah, really weird. Rockwell gets sent to Cuba, hanging out in a nightclub, and it's like, man, I had a really bad day. I'm going to cheer myself up by doing some cocaine and like nearly having sex with a man and a woman, but gets stabbed in the heart before.
Nearly.
Yeah. What an odd scene.
That was really weird. It really didn't match the tone.
Yeah, if you're a big George Lincoln Rockwell fan, you're probably not going to like that episode very much.
And then also J. Edgar Hoover.
J. Edgar himself.
J. Edgar.
But wasn't he part African American or something?
Well, that was a rumor during his life that he denied. There's
also another rumor that comes up in this, that he was a homosexual.
Yeah, and they use that to blackmail him, basically. Well, they never say what the thing is exactly, but I think it's supposed to be the famed pictures of him like in drag or something like that.
That they allude to in The Naked Gun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, great law enforcement people, Jagger Hoover, and it's like a tutu and handcuffs and a whip or something. It's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
But yeah, he's, as you might expect, a conniving, backstabbing, spy master kind of guy. He's also in Joe Steele.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I'm not going to give anything away, but let's just say He's kind of a Beria type, I'll just say.
Yeah, that would make sense.
He's a big mover and shaker in the government.
In one of the episodes of Sliders, they go to a world in which a J. Edgar Hoover was the president of the United States, and all police officers have to wear skirts because of it.
Right.
And he gives the second Gettysburg Address and gets rid of the Constitution.
Yay!
Yay.
Thank you.
And there's a funny scene where they're in a computer shop, and he's like, well, this is the Tolson model, which is interesting because Clyde Tolson was the deputy director of the FBI during his time and also his reputed lover.
Really?
Yes. That was Armie Hammer in the movie J. Edgar, everyone.
And
they're like, this is the Tolson model. And it was like, oh, that's an interesting reference.
So he has a type of computer named after him?
J. Edgar? Well, I guess
the Tolson model.
No, in the Sliders episode. It's not.
But I mean, in the episode,
Yeah.
why would he have a type of computer named after him?
I don't know.
Okay, well.
It was dumb.
It was kind of dumb. Carl Rader's in it.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, very briefly, and he dies, and he doesn't really say anything, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Himmler's in it as well, obviously. Interesting thing, though, and you see this both for the Japanese and the German characters, they speak a lot of English for people who are born and raised in Germany and Japan.
Almost as if these people don't speak German as a native language, and
Almost.
it would be incredibly inconvenient for them to try to speak this language that's going to sound ridiculous.
Exactly. And on top of let's see, who else? Oh, Joe,
yeah.
He becomes like a super assassin.
It's a lot closer to how he is in the book, finally, because in the first 2 seasons, it's kind of wishy-washy. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy kind of thing? And in this, after he gets captured, after the coup attempt, they torture him for like months and months and mess with his head. And eventually the condition of his release is that he has to shoot his own dad. And
he does it.
Yeah, he does it. And he gets his special little merit badge and
scout badge.
becomes a super assassin after that. Just cold-blooded murderer.
And they send him to the Japanese area, and he kills all these people. And then eventually, spoiler alert, he gets killed by Juliana. She gets his throat slashed with like a razor.
Which is what happens in the book. At the very end of it, she slits his throat. Because in the book, it's a little unclear. He's either a German guy who's pretending to be an Italian truck driver. He's deep undercover or whatever. Or he's an Italian truck driver who's insane and has delusions of being a German guy who's undercover. It's not entirely clear.
Mm-hmm. Either way, he's dead.
Yeah, and in the book, his name's Joe Centinella, which they kind of... Chinadella, right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Cinderella. A little bit. Cinderfella.
Then you have Frank Frink.
He's back.
He survived, although he's horribly scarred.
Yeah. He looks a bit like Darkman, a little bit.
Yeah, he does, actually, yeah.
A fine film.
He's living in the neutral zone.
Yeah.
In a Jewish enclave, secret Jewish enclave called Sabra.
I looked this up because I thought it was really funny that they named their enclave after a hummus brand. But it turns out a Sabra is a type of cactus that grows in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. And it's a slang term for somebody who's a native-born Israeli. Mm-hmm. The idea is that you're prickly on the outside, but soft and sweet on the inside. Which, okay.
Okay, cool.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, he's distributing all these images.
Yeah, he's an artist now.
He's an artist, yeah.
Banksy, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But Inspector Keto catches up to him,
and
he takes him to Manzanar.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Which was an internment camp for Japanese during World War II. And then he cuts his head off.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'd be coming back. Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, because there's a bit of a revelation that happens at the end of the show. But we'll
get to that in a few minutes. Yeah.
There's still some very important things to get to, like
Robert Childen and DJ Qualls. I forget what his character is.
Yeah,
Ed.
That's right. It is Ed, isn't it?
Yeah.
So basically, the two of even though last season they were counterfeiting all these Americana things, I guess they just want the real thing again. Mm-hmm. So they're traveling around the neutral zone buying this was John Wayne's belt buckle. It's basically like Pawn Stars or American Pickers.
Exactly.
It's a little odd.
Yeah, and then they get robbed by a biker gang.
Why would this biker gang want all these crappy
antiques, everybody? That's what I think when I think of bikers are antiques.
This 17th century Ottoman will go perfect in my biker lair.
Okay.
This old gasoline sign will look great next to my couch that I shoot up meth on. That's perfect.
But it really is like American Pickers. I mean, they're pretty much just going around. And,
Including the fact that the homosexuality, that's also part of it as well. Because now DJ Qualls is gay for some reason. Yeah. What's going on?
Well, it just didn't make it does make a whole lot of sense because I think they're kind of intimating he's in love with Juliana in the first season.
Yeah, he like, I think if I remember correctly, Frank is talking to him and he's like, "You're in love with Juliana too, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I am." And
in love with her as a friend, Max.
I guess he loves her, but not in love with her. He likes her, but doesn't like her. You know.
It just seems unnecessary.
I mean, it's fine if you're going to have a character who's gay on your show. It's just weird that he's not, and then he is later. That's just very strange. I've never seen, other than Dumbledore, I've never seen that before. I don't know.
It doesn't really add to the plot, other than it introduces the cowboy guy that he hangs out with.
The gay cowboy man who does nothing. He doesn't do anything the whole show.
He's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
And then we have, on top of that, on a related note, Nicole Dormer, the German, basically Leni Riefenstahl character. Then she has her own gay love affair with some lady. And, I mean, okay, fine. But first of all, who is this? S&M Sterling?
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't help but think that. Is that I couldn't help but see.
Guest writer S.M. Sterling.
The face of S.M. Sterling just rising up in the middle of these scenes. Yes. Yes.
I didn't write this during a dark time in my life. Still the best comment we've ever gotten. Thank you.
But Nicole Dormer, she's making these propaganda movies. One of her big pushes is this idea of year zero.
Jahr Null.
Jahr Null.
Year zero. So, taking something from Pol Pot here.
Yeah, that's
Laptop.
right.
Selath Sar. If you reverse the spelling, it's laptop.
Really?
Yeah.
That's okay.
You did lop a lot of tops.
That's true, for wearing glasses, being able to read, things like that.
But yeah, so the Jahr Null, and they're destroying everything. They destroyed the Liberty Bell.
Yes, they melt it down to make a swastika.
And then they blow up the Statue of Liberty, and
they blow it up with these VTOL jets.
Yeah.
Which
why does the Osprey exist in the 60s?
With jets, even, not propellers.
Yeah. It's dumb.
Well, when was the Harrier introduced?
The 70s or 80s.
Okay. Well, the Germans have some other advanced technology, but once again, we'll be getting to that later. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Jahr Null, what about Mount Rushmore? Why don't we see Hitler on Mount Rushmore is what I'm wondering. Spike TV pilot style,
Spike TV's got him here.
Yeah.
They've got them beat, Max. What about the guy in the moon,
Well, that's coming, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
But, they have some other really advanced technology, too, that makes no sense. Like, for instance, the weird trans-dimensional portal that they've built.
Yeah. Well, they talk about dimensional disturbances like they're like normal. This is a weak point in the dimension. This is the 1960s.
There's like they're in Sabra or whatever, and then there's this elderly guy who's like, yeah, I used to read a lot of popular mechanics, and, I've heard about these quantum disturbances,
Okay.
The absolute funniest one is when they're in the area where that mine is at the very end, and they're talking to this miner, and it's like, yeah, we used to work in this mine shaft here, but there were all these anomalies everywhere, so we had to relocate the mine. It's like,
okay.
What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, the fabric of space and time is especially thin in this part of town, so we had to relocate our hydraulic punch presses, because...
What are you talking about?
Trans-dimensional beings were getting inside the machinery and making the drive chain slip. What the hell is this?
Oh, my God. But the interesting thing about it, who's building it, Max? Dr. Mengele.
Yes.
Dr. Mengele was a medical doctor, not a physicist.
Quotation marks around it, doctor.
Quotation marks around even that.
do no harm, eh?
Let alone a physicist. But I like how they send the people through and they usually get melted.
Yeah, because what's revealed is that if you are meditating and go to a different dimension, you automatically go to a dimension where you're
dead or you don't exist.
Yeah, where you don't exist.
Yeah, you're either dead or you don't exist. You're not alive at the time you transfer.
But with the German one, it forces you into the other dimension, and if you already exist in that dimension, you just explode.
Yeah,
you telefrag.
A big meat sack that just blows up.
It's like Norman Reedus in Blade 2. You just
yes.
What a fantastic film.
First of all, I've been on to you from the beginning. Second of all, it ain't a dud. I was just beginning to like that kid. Oh, Chris Christopherson.
Oh, everybody in that scene. Everybody's so great. Wesley Snipes, Norman Reedus.
Chris Christopherson. Ron
Perlman, yes.
The old guy who kind of looks like Nosferatu, sort of.
Yeah. Demodius or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, Ron Perlman, his character is named Reinhard in that movie.
Yeah.
What a great film.
Gets cut in half like a hot dog.
He does. And you can, it's kind of gross, not going to lie. I just want to say that scene doesn't make any sense real quick. Because it's like, it's
the blood pool.
Well, the blood pool is pretty silly. Why you got this big pool of blood? Wouldn't that attract flies and stuff?
Yeah, I know, right?
Wouldn't it coagulate and then scab up? Just get a giant scab in the middle of the room. There's a lot of things that don't make a whole lot of sense about that scene. But so it's a dud, right? Mm-hmm. And then he tosses it to Norman Reedus, and then he blows it up. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why didn't you just blow it up when Ron Perlman was holding it? Because he's a vampire. Norman Reedus is just a normal guy. You can just kill him easily. Yeah. Like, why did he do that?
Because it was more interesting.
Right.
The other way.
Because that way,
one little bomb was pretty damn strong, too. Because in the military, they call it total body disruption.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Just
gone.
Well, not totally gone, but you're not fitting together.
It's also, too, because he puts it on the back of Ron Perlman's head, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, don't touch it or else it'll blow up. Mm-hmm. Well, what about when he goes to sleep at night? Or what if he tries to put on a bicycle helmet or something?
Oh, yes.
So the Germans...
Right to Guillermo del Toro. He'll answer our questions.
Yeah. Guillermo, when you make Blade 3, I just want you to address these problems. Norman Reedus is going to be in a video game made by Hideo Kojima.
Okay.
Name means nothing to you.
Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't mean a whole lot to me.
Well, okay. But see, okay.
But it means something to you, Max.
It does mean something to me and for thousands of people listening right now. So like the Germans, the idea behind this is that this tunnel, they're going to use this to conquer other Earths. And there's a lot of problems with that idea. Well,
first of all, they have that whole, not everyone can go through. They don't figure that out till the end. Secondly, how are you going to get a damn tank through that? How are you going to fit an airplane? Okay.
Well, apparently you can. It's not like Terminator because you can take material with you because how else would they bring these films, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, can you take a gun with you? Mm-hmm. Can you take, like, a complicated piece of electronics with you or something? Like... But also, there's the extremely high failure rate. Like 1% only ever gets through.
Yeah, they can't get back.
But here's the big thing. You haven't even conquered this planet. So what are you doing conquering another planet?
Exactly, right? And also, how do you know? What Nazi brazenness would it be that we're going to conquer this other planet? For all you know, the people on the other side are way more advanced than you. And there's more of them.
Right. And it's only someplace where you're already dead. So like the only places that'll work is someplace that's like this bombed out post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah, good for you. Like,
Yay.
Or a world where no one like exists.
And because of that, now in subsequent seasons, death kind of doesn't really matter so much in this show.
Yeah, so you can bring any of these characters back pretty much. Yeah. Frank or Joe can easily come back next season.
Yeah, almost assuredly Joe will be back because Juliana has those visions or whatever and Joe is in them. There's going to be another world where he'll be a good guy or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which Hitler's dead in this series, so they can possibly go to some universe where Hitler's still alive and kidnap him and bring him to this one. I was thinking like it might be neat if it's a world where Germany won World War I or something. So Hitler's just an aging guy in a retirement home. And it's like, we've got you, Mr. Fuhrer. And He's like completely confused by everything.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but again, you haven't conquered this one yet. Why are you conquering the next one? We're getting to a 99%, we're getting to 100% success. That's what he said. Like, get at that point. It's like, why? Like, you still have a substantial portion of this world left to conquer.
Right. You know what this is like? That S.M. Sterling book, Dracon.
Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, that book. Oh, my God. That was a really dark time in SM's life.
I remember you showed me excerpts from that, and like one of them is like, the crazy Draka lady is with some lady, and the lady's like, but I like men. And she's like, me too.
What am I watching? Like Caligula from the 70s or something?
Oh my God. And they talk about how the Phantom Menace came out there, but they had some other actor in it or something.
Oh, yeah. Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh. As Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I lost my liver, my spleen,
25 feet of my small intestine,
my sexual organs, my legs. But did I give up? No. That's a Wild Wild West reference for all of you who don't get that.
Oh my goodness.
Dr. Alice Lovelace.
Dr. Lovelace. So maybe the idea is resources. Like maybe go to a different world. I mean, you have half of the continental United States and all of Western Europe. So you've got a lot of resources already.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just seems a little silly.
And Africa. And like South America.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. All of South America and all of Africa too. Or is it? They don't
talk about it.
There's some maps if you look closely, but there are still independent countries on the planet, but they don't really go into detail a lot of things. For instance, Italy. What's up with Italy? What's going on?
Mussolini still putzing around?
Maybe Count Ciano's in charge now or something?
What about Spain?
What about Spain? Is Franco still around? It's time appropriate for him to still be around. What's happening with Britain? No mention of Britain at all.
Probably belongs to the Germans.
Either belongs to the German or in the German sphere of influence or whatever. But like Winston Churchill could potentially still be alive. He was still alive in the early 60s. Stalin could still be around? Oh, wait, no, probably not.
Probably not. No, they say died and they say he died. But Stalin died in 1954. That's what they said in one of them.
1954. So he lived longer in this world?
Yeah.
What? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. They have to change it up, Max.
I guess, yeah. Because, I mean, a freak stroke or whatever, it's not for certain that you're going to die.
Well, it may not have been a freak stroke.
Oh. Beria.
It was all his fault. Probably was. But so you have this, and it's just, that was interesting towards the end. They have this machine thing, and it just seems very strange that the 60s, technology really accelerated in like 15 years. Sort of.
Why would this world have so much more advanced technology than our world?
Yeah, and why in a pre-digital age do they have, with analog technology, they figure out a way to breach into another dimension?
There's like a moment in the TV show where I think it's John Smith and Himmler are having a conversation across the TV. And it's like, how did they have Skype in the 60s? But they don't have color televisions.
Yeah.
Huh?
Weird.
They have Concorde jets and MP5s. Would are MP5s time appropriate? It's like the early 60s.
They came in the 70s, I think. 70s and 80s.
Okay.
They're great guns, apparently.
They're pretty cool looking.
Kind of futuristic looking. They've got a very complicated action, though, for a submachine gun.
Well, that's German for you.
I know.
They love that kind of stuff. You ever see the inside of a G11, one of those H&K G11s? They're just like, what the hell is this? How does this even work?
Yeah, they use a weird delayed blowback, I think, or something like that, where it's like, why don't you just use like simple blowback mechanism is like about very simple.
Like a Sten gun,
Yeah. It's like it's just a bullet hose. It's like the Pepe Shaw. No select fire, full auto only.
Be hilarious if you switched it to single. It's just like...
That's the type of gun that only works when you're like...
like a Mac 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Who wants to set a Mac 10 to... Come on.
Yeah.
But there's...
just a freaking bullet hose.
There's G3s in this series, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
They
still do use the Nambu pistols, which is stupid.
It's so stupid.
Nambu pistols it's the ammunition that's really bad. And remember, that's the most important part of a gun, everyone. The ammunition.
The ammunition.
Because otherwise you just have a really expensive club. Really expensive and complicated, unnecessarily complicated club.
You know, I'm not sure if this is true, but speaking of the MP5 and speaking of ammunition, I've heard that, like, with SWAT teams and whatnot, they're moving away from using SMGs that use 9mm because for some reason, 9mm slugs actually penetrate walls way easier than
5.56, 2.23. Excuse me. My brother will tell you that there's a difference. There is.
It's a minor difference, but there is. But like the 2.23s, like they hit the wall and
they're frangible. Yeah, they spiral. Yeah, because the pistol round is heavier, so I think it has more force. So,
and the idea is
they should have a SWAT team that uses AK-47s. That'd be amazing. An American SWAT team. They really should.
If you go to Russia, whatever their counterterrorism thing is.
Well, yeah, but I mean American SWAT. It'd be funny to see an American SWAT team with AK-47s.
They're just better.
Carry around a handheld minigun.
We carry around one of those, like a
We've got to clear this house out.
Call in the F-16s, this Tomcat.
The Top Cats or whatever.
SWAT cats.
SWAT cats.
Please. But the idea is, like, we don't want these 9mm slugs, like, going into the neighbor's house and accidentally killing someone, so.
I wonder if only a SWAT team had a tank. That'd be funny.
Well, just watch Die Hard. They have a tank in that.
Well, but it's not really a tank because it's a ram.
Okay. It's to knock the door
It's
down.
like an APC with a ram on it. No, I mean like a tank. It's like, oh, here, get your T-34-85.
They've taken hostages, and they have T-55s. Oh, no.
No, God. What are we going to do? Bring out our M1 Abrams. Get our longbow Apache here.
Get the Kiowas out.
Yeah.
Target paint them. Send in the cruise missiles.
That's right. Yeah, this B-52. Our B-52 has to take off from Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. It'll be here in 10 hours. Launch a cruise missile strike. B-1, B-2, stealth bomber.
B-2 Spirit, yeah.
Yeah. An F-111 Aardvark.
Aardvark?
Yeah, those were like supersonic bombers, more from the Cold War era, but they used like this to do airstrikes. I think they could fly low at supersonic levels, which is crazy because you're not supposed to fly supersonic at wave top level. You can do it, but it's not good.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah. Again, we're not pilots or physicists.
We're not pilots or physicists or mechanics. F-117 Nighthawk, those weird looking things.
Yeah, they used them in the Gulf War.
You know, somebody shot one down in the Serbian wars.
Really?
Yeah. Like they used radar to figure out where it was, even though it was a stealth bomber, they could see it anyway. And they knew where it was going to be around. And then they just shot it down.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's in a museum or something. They have parts of it still there.
Probably. In Belgrade.
And the reason why it's so weird and blocky looking is because when they were running computer simulations, that's what it was shaped like. It was like old vector graphics or whatever.
Yeah.
So they just built the plane to look like that so it would work within the parameters.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It's not like the F-35, which is all sleek and cool looking now. But,
bring back the P-38.
P-38. Somebody commented that like they're actually kind of doing that a little bit. They have a lot of propeller planes that they use now.
Really?
Well, like
what type, though? I wonder what type they're using.
Well, AC-130, for instance, they use.
Well, that's different, because AC-130 is like a mobile gun platform.
There's like we were talking about artillery. I mean, they basically put artillery.
They do. 105 millimeter howitzer in it. Miniguns plus 40 millimeter anti-aircraft guns. Holy crap. It's like a broadside from a battleship.
All the drones have propellers. The Reaper drones, the Global Hawk.
They do. That's true, of course. Yeah.
You know, turboprop stuff. It's more efficient. You save fuel, and you know you don't need to be
drone
supersonic.
blimps. Drone. We go back to Zeppelins.
Drone submarines.
But yeah, it's interesting. And then we get to Mr. Togomi.
Mr. Togomi.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, he comes back and he's trying to avoid war with Germany, and he's practicing with that big stick.
Yes.
A lot.
It is a combat kata. He's got a girlfriend. He's got a
Okinawan girlfriend.
An Okinawan lady, yeah. She's an artist also, just like Frank. Painting pictures of the gigantic battleships in San Francisco Bay.
Which don't seem like of huge use in 1963 or whatever year it is.
Maybe because Japan had such inexplicable victory in World War II, they don't feel any need to advance technologically.
They say they're still using the Arasaka rifle.
And Nambu pistols.
Oh, God. Those
What
are
are the horrible pistols?
Terrible. It's like weak, undersized guns.
You got a big ring that you pull in the back.
Yeah. That actually kind of interesting. Get your Nambu.
Nambu.
It's better than there's another one. It was another Nambu, I think, made during the war where the sear is exposed on the gun. If you press down on it, it shoots without you even pulling the trigger. So if you accidentally apply too much pressure to the gun, it can just go off.
It's got a hair trigger.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you have Mr. Tagomi, and he meets with Smith at one point and all this stuff. And also this other Nazi assassin who gets sent after Joe gets killed.
Yeah, because Joe's killing off all of these influential Japanese people and also German people in an attempt to cause a conflict between Germany and Japan.
He's supposed to kill Mr. Tagomi.
And he fails somehow.
Well, he kills the guard, and then instead of shooting him or trying to sneak in, he just marches through the front door with a knife. And Mr. Tagomi shows that all that stick fighting practice comes to use.
Just whacks him across the face with a stick.
Yeah, and kills him.
Like this elderly 75-plus-year-old man.
Well, maybe not 75, but he's old, and he's like fighting someone 30 years younger, at least than him, 40 years younger. And he just beats the crap. He kills him with this stick in like two moves.
He's like this cloned super assassin that's been training his entire life for this. And he gets killed by an old man with a stick.
Yes. But we do know that Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa, the guy who plays him, has also shown his martial arts prowess in another work of art, Max.
Oh, yes, that's right.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
Mortal Kombat. He's Shang Tsung in that movie. I think both of them.
Oh, no, he dies in the first one.
He dies in the first one, right? Okay.
He probably was spared something terrible by not being in Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Well, Christopher Lambert survives in the first one, and he comes back in the second one. So.
Yeah.
Well, he does.
As another actor.
Right. Yeah. A different guy plays Raiden in that. Raiden. They call him Raiden, not Raiden.
The guy who plays Ajax in the Warriors, and Dexter's dad and Dexter. Oh, I remember his name.
You mentioned him in a different episode.
We do, yeah. This is the second time we've talked about that guy. But yeah, long story short, he was in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. He did a great job, too.
Your soul is mine.
Pulls energy out of a guy, and he says, fatality.
Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa is apparently Russian Orthodox.
Yeah, you told me about that. That's pretty nuts.
I think I saw that on Wikipedia.
Is he like from Sakhalin or something?
No, he's from the U.S. I think he was born in Japan, but an American citizen. He was also in what was the James Bond with Timothy Dalton where he sets the guy on fire in the gas crash? Not The Living Daylights, the other Dalton one.
The other Dalton one. Oh, the
License to Kill.
License to Kill. Okay.
Yeah, he's in that.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. Goro. He brings Goro, the big four-armed guy, for no reason.
A big rubber puppet comes out.
That movie is bad, Max.
And then Johnny Cage punches him in the groin, just like Mwalimu, just like Julius Nyerere.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting his revenge.
Against Idi Amin.
Yeah, this Mortal Kombat, directed by... It can be a little throw you off at the end because you see it's directed by Paul Anderson. Not Paul Thomas Anderson, Paul W.S. Anderson.
Different guy.
Paul Thomas Anderson did There Will Be Blood.
He did.
And Magnolia.
Paul
W.S. Anderson did not.
Paul W.S. Anderson definitely did not. He did Boogie Nights. He did Phantom Thread. I have not seen that film, but...
The last movie Daniel Day-Lewis was in before he retired.
Which seems a little odd, retiring when you're such a good actor, but...
Well, there were no more good roles to play, Max.
I guess, yeah. Alexander wept, for there were no more worlds left to conquer.
Well, there were, but...
Yeah, but,
when your troops are like, we're not going any farther.
I want to go home.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to India.
Fight those war elephants. But yes, Mr. Tagomi.
Mr. Tagomi.
And then you have Juliana as well, and she's becoming like the focal character.
Yeah, the chosen one.
Yeah, she's Neo.
It doesn't really make any sense. She's in a bunch of movies. Most of the movies center around her.
Yeah.
for some reason, and for some reason she's the only one who has memories of living lives as different people in different dimensions. So that's how she finds out about the crazy cross-dimensional device or whatever, is that she dreams about it.
And then her sister goes back to her other dimension, and then she follows at the very end of the last episode. She goes to some other dimension.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
She fades away. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
she
Smith comes in and shoots her just as she's leaving in the shoulder.
There's like a blood stain on the wall.
Yeah,
that's well done. Yeah, what do you think the next season of this show is going to be?
I honestly thought though that the season was going to end with Smith getting like accidentally thrown through the machine and ending up in another world.
For some reason, Joseph Mengele is both a physicist and a medical doctor. They mention in the episode that his son Thomas was handed over to Mengele. I'm thinking maybe he used him in one of those teleportation experiments and his son's still alive out there. He's in some dimension.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
He went to another dimension where he exists.
Or a couple other things could happen. I would like to see the war actually happen.
They've been teasing us.
Yeah, since the first dang season.
It's time for us to see it happen.
Yeah, a nuclear war or conventional war or whatever. That would be pretty neat. Or they could go an entirely different direction and just have lots of dimension hopping craziness.
Sliders.
Like sliders, yes, correct. They meet John Rhys Davies.
Yeah. Professor Arturo. I used to love that show when I was younger.
I watched a little bit of it.
It's goofy.
Some of the episodes are really silly.
Yeah, but
dinosaurs are still around.
Yeah, that one didn't. But humans exist too. It's like, God, that one doesn't make any sense.
No. Gender roles are reversed.
Oh yeah, the one. Yeah, he runs for mayor of San Francisco. One of the characters.
Or like one where there is no crime. Like wacky stuff like that.
The lottery one.
The lottery. I don't remember.
That's the one where the lottery is where you win the lottery, you get all the money you want, but then they kill you.
Huh.
To keep the population low. They have like birth control and soda and
weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
Strange.
Good old sliders.
Mm-hmm.
In relation to that whole Sabra thing, there's a character who's friends with Frank. I can't remember his name, but he was in the first season also. But there's like this part where he confronts a bunch of bounty hunters or whatever.
Really out looking for Jews and stuff.
Yeah, and then he like pulls out two guns like he's from Hard Boiled or something.
Just blows him away. And the guy's like, I can smell a Semite. And he's like, well, there's one right in front of you. And they're like, what? And then he shoots them both in like the crotch and just blows them away.
Like jump on the bar.
Yeah, he should have jumped on a table. Like
Chow Yun Fat.
Yeah.
Sergeant Tequila.
Yeah, Inspector Tequila. And his cousin, Inspector Bourbon.
Inspector Manischewitz.
That's a great movie. They should make an American version of that. I don't think they could.
Yeah. Let's have this giant shootout in a hospital where like people on crutches just get blown away. Guys with automatic weapons shooting people in wheelchairs. Oh, geez. Though there is a scene in the most recent Fast and Furious movie that they totally rip off from Hard Boiled. Where
really?
Jason Statham has a little baby. It's Vin Diesel's kid. And he's like rolling around on a plane shooting people.
Yeah, and he's got just like that. Yeah,
exactly like the Hard Boiled thing. They even do the same thing where like they cover up the baby's ears because in Hard Boiled he puts cotton in his ears, and in this he puts like a headphone thing on him or whatever. And turns the volume up, which that's a baby. That's bad for them.
Yeah. Hard Boiled.
Hard Boiled.
Oh, and DJ Qualls, before we forget. Interesting career.
He has an interesting career. He's never been any big roles or anything. Like his biggest role is Road Trip or something like that. Or
Delta Farce.
Delta Farce. He's mostly a TV guy and bit parts, not a whole lot of main roles. Like this is arguably his biggest role ever. He
spends it as a guy from American Pickers.
Antiquing, yeah. Critically important to the plot. He was in Breaking Bad very briefly as a drug dealer or a cop. I can't remember. It's been so long. He's a very minor character. He was in Fargo season 3. He's a hitman for the Russian mafia.
What?
Yeah, and then they rip off Hotline Miami because they're wearing like animal masks or whatever when they go to shoot somebody. And he ends up getting his head cut off in the TV show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah. It's a good show. Mary Elizabeth Winstead cuts his head off. I like her. She's a fine actress.
She cuts his head off?
With a chain. It's like it's around his neck or whatever and pulls so hard. It's a little gratuitous, I'll just say. The Fargo TV show is great. You should definitely watch it.
I've seen the first season. I haven't seen the other two. Thanks for spoiling.
He's like a nothing character.
Yeah.
He doesn't even say anything. But good old DJ. Mm-hmm. Good old DJ. I've always liked him. He's in the core.
DJ Qualls is a hacker in that movie, and there's a really great scene where like the FBI is breaking into his house to arrest him, and he's like wiping all his hard drives and microwaving his CDs, and yeah, it's wonderful. But my favorite scene from that movie is with Aaron Eckhart. He's like a geophysicist, and he's explaining what's going to happen when the core runs out, and it's just sublime because
he explains to them that the only way to restart the core of the Earth is to drop a nuclear bomb inside of it, and that'll restart it.
Nope. No.
And he illustrates that by taking an apple and a can of hairspray and then lighting the hairspray on fire and burning the apple. It's like, this is what's going to happen if the core runs out.
Why? No. Oh, damn it.
That's a very stupid movie.
It does look dumb. Also, in it, don't they tunnel to the center of the Earth?
Yes.
Do they know that no human object has ever even gotten through the entirety of the crust into the mantle, let alone to the core?
It's not a very scientific film.
No.
And the inside of the Earth is a bunch of diamonds in the movie, which is like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, well, that's the solid metal core, but
not giant diamond crystals or whatever.
No. So strange.
What a movie.
Thanks, DJ.
Thank you, DJ.
That's a lot of inaccurate book reports that just got made because of that movie.
Damn it. Which, speaking of inaccurate book reports, recently I was at a local used bookstore, and it's a great location. It's awesome. But like, there is a World War II history section, and that place is filled with alternate history. It's all over the place.
Yes. We're succeeding, Max.
A lot of Peter Saras in there. Disaster at D-Day.
Oh, you're going to confuse a whole bunch of people.
Exactly. Some kid's going to pick that up and read the whole thing and be like, and then when Erwin Rommel pushed the Allies back into the ocean, he went to the Eastern Front, and they don't know no better.
They don't. Oh, Saras. There's a World War I book that they did. I need to read that.
Yeah, I'd love to read that. I want to read all the Sarases. Dixie Victorious.
I read that. There's some weird ones in there.
There's Hitler something or other triumphant or
Hitler resplendent.
Not Hitler Victorious is a totally different type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like really weird stories or something.
No, there's Third Reich Victorious, the Hitler options, and then there's like Hitler Victorious, and there's like three of them. They're all like the same format but different stories. Mm-hmm. There's one where the Allies invade Dieppe in 1943. They get their asses kicked because Malta fell in 1942. It doesn't make any sense because they do the Dieppe raid, but it's a huge success. Okay, great. We're going to do it again, but bigger. Oh, what's the best thing about attacking the enemy? Attacking them in the exact same place.
It's the last thing they'll expect, you see.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the movie trope of, his password. He can't resist toying with us. Well, it'll be some plot-related thing, like his son's birthday or something.
No, why wouldn't they just do some weird, impossible to think of, GBX 30, 37 brackets, blah, blah, blah. It's
36 characters long, just random gobbledygook.
Yeah.
It's like in Hackers at the end of the movie, the big password for the thing is God, G-O-D. And it's like, that's 3 characters. That's the worst password ever. It's terrible.
It's a very bad password. Almost worse than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Pingelet's in that movie is like a hacker expert. And he explains that the most common password for people is God. Which is not true at all. It's completely incorrect.
Well, what did Teller think?
What did Teller think? Well, Teller he's got nothing to say when he's in character, that is.
Oh, of course not.
They also had that video game Desert Bus, where you drive a bus for like 12 hours straight.
Just you run out of gas? Or?
It's like the alignment's off, so you have to correct your steering the entire time, or else you'll like veer into the opposite lane and die.
Oh, man. Oh, Penn Jillette.
But overall, we really, really liked Man in the High Castle.
That's right. And they're doing this 4th season.
Yes,
Confirmed.
good. I want this to go on and on and on. I hope they keep making alternate history TV shows and whatnot, and maybe try movies or whatever. Just give more content for this kind of thing. Make it more popular.
That's right. You got to get that word out there. History ain't history unless it's alternate.
But what if it was different, though? Think about that. What if Carthage went to the moon? What if Serbia went to the moon? Yeah.
What if insert country name here went to the moon?
I don't want to be mean, but I just want to point out that we now have more subscribers than Alternate History PT. That guy. So just give ourselves a pat on the back right now.
And we built this. It's taken us a long time, Max.
Yes. This
Blood,
was
sweat, toil, and tears. We had to fight them in the hills and on the beaches and in the streets.
the landing grounds.
And then the landing grounds and all that good stuff.
Never surrender.
Never surrender.
Never, 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 never surrender.
Surrender. So we can win an Oscar for Gary Oldman finally.
Finally. That was really the goal of our channel, the entire... It kind of was, because we looked at that video, Alternate History PT stuff, and then we looked at those 3 or 4 weird podcast things from some guys. They did like 4 episodes and then nothing
Notable
else.
effort, but...
Yeah, I mean, it was fine.
I remember that day, actually, where I was like, Max, we should do this.
Yeah, and I was like, this seems like something we could do. And we recorded that. It was either the Civil War one.
Civil War episode.
Yeah.
We've come a long way from that.
Yeah, we really have. I know a lot more about history than I did when we recorded that episode. I have a lot more things to say now.
Me too.
Yeah.
It was a different world back then.
Yeah.
2014.
2014. Goodness gracious. Well, speaking of milestones, so we've been thinking about this for a really long time. We don't really have any ads on our videos or whatever, but kind of decided we want to do one of those Patreon things. Forgive us. I know everybody has a Patreon these days, but I mean, like I was going to put the last episode on SoundCloud, but in order to do that, you like have to sign up for like a monthly fee of $10 to go over 3 hours. And I'm like, I'm not getting any money from this at all. Why am I going to pay $10 a week on top of like all the work that I do for these episodes? So a couple of commenters have kind of asked for it and people in emails, and let's give it a try. We're going to give it a shot. So like in the description box, we'll put a link to it and just see where it goes.
Got it.
Nothing special, nothing ridiculous, but if you want to help cover the maintenance of this show, you're welcome to.
I think that's about it.
I think that's about it, except for the fact that you can also contact us at talkernatehistory@gmail.com. I just want to apologize to people who send us messages. We read them all, we really do, but we try to respond, but we do kind of have a little bit of a backlog that we need to work through.
Yeah, we'll work on it. We're busy, guys. I know both of us, guarantee I know we never talk about what we do, and we're not going to, but we're both very busy.
You work 6 days a week.
Pretty much.
Pretty much every week. I work like 10.5 hours a day most days. So
yeah, we're busy. This is we enjoy this, but.
And I don't plan on ever stopping.
I know. We'll just keep on going. Well, history keeps on going on, Max.
Exactly. We're going to be doing alternate 2016 elections 10 years from now.
Right.
So
what if Henry Clay won the 2016 election?
He's back.
Yeah.
Henry Clay the 16th. Here he is. Here in the year 3016.
Tariffs on everything.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, this is Matt signing off.
And this is Max signing off.
Have a good day, guys.